Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Onward. My name is Dan. Thank you for stopping by. One minor housekeeping thing before we get started. Yesterday I mentioned that I didn't have children. What I meant to say was, I don't have adult children that live with me. I know if there is one way to make this video succeed, and my channel to succeed, is for my daughter to find my channel on YouTube, listen to me say I don't have children. I guarantee you she would take offense. So, I apologize, dear. I'm sorry. Lo siento. Today is day 6 of my 30-day YouTube challenge. It is getting easier to talk to the camera. It's getting harder to come up with subjects. I have so many things to pick and choose from. I don't really know where to start. So, bear with me. Going to be a lot of rambling, trying to figure out where to go with this, what direction to take, what niche. I've been watching YouTube practically nonstop, all these other channels, all these other different creators, and they all kind of say similar things. Basically, just get started, roll with it, and see where it takes you. So, without further ado, we shall start today's somewhat subject, how I came to live in Tijuana, Mexico. All of my gringo friends, American friends, when they find out that I live in Tijuana, the first thing they always say is, aren't you afraid? Aren't you terrified? You're gonna die. You're gonna be kidnapped by the cartels. You're out of your mind. My mom, when I told her that I had moved here to Tijuana, was actually, I don't think she was surprised. I've done a lot of crazy things and lived in some crazy places. So for her, I don't think it was totally out of character for me to do something like this. But still, she was concerned, obviously. She was like, aren't you gonna die? Aren't you worried? You're gonna get kidnapped, yada yada. So how I came to Tijuana. Back around 2017, I became really good friends with a guy who is now my next door neighbor. And he and I really hit it off. And so I was coming down here to visit him and hang out, party, obviously. It's kind of an interesting time in my life. And I was hanging out here more and more, and it was around, let's see, it was around, I think, February of around 21. I rented an Airbnb over in Playas on the beach, and I was instantly hooked with the idea of moving here. At the time, I was long haul trucking. I would go out on the road for 3 weeks or more. And I was working out of Dallas. My official address was a friend's place there in Dallas. And so I would fly back and forth between Dallas and San Diego, cross the border, come down here, stay a few days, a week, party, have a good time, and then go back to work. The more I kept coming here, the more I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe someday I'll move to Mexico. That'd be fun. And I started looking around a little bit, and on that one particular trip where I stayed out in Playas, I fell in love. I was instantly hooked. Not just with Tijuana and Mexico, but also with a girl. Actually, I think this was 2020. I fell in love with a girl. So I started coming down here more often. I was seeing her. And eventually I went to her and I said, hey, look, I'm spending so much in hotels here. How about I pay your rent? And when I come down here, I'll stay with you. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. That'll work. So we did that for a little while. And unfortunately, that relationship didn't work. She she was not ready to settle down. Let's put it that way. I had met her in Adelitas, which, for those of you that don't know, it's a bar in the red light district, and well, y'all can use your imagination. We would like to sort of pretend to keep this clean, but so, anyways, that relationship didn't work. But one of the things that I got out of it was I got to know this neighborhood. And I got to know a lot of people in this neighborhood. So I felt safe and comfortable. I don't live in Zona Rio or Cacho or Playas, where all the other gringos live. My neighborhood is all pretty much Mexican. There's no English, very few gringos. I personally know of, I think, 3 other gringos that live in this neighborhood. And it's kind of intimidating. If you're, I'm a big guy and I don't intimidate easily, but even the first time I came to this neighborhood was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'll never forget the first time I dropped my buddy off and I was like, you want me to go where? Are you insane? I'm going to die. So that, I got over that. So after her and I broke up, I went back to work, and within a couple of weeks, my buddy called me up and he said, hey, the apartment next to me is available. Do you want it? I said, hell yes. What do I got to do? And he's like, don't worry about it. It's yours. I'll talk to the owners. So that's how I got my apartment here. And one of these days, I'll clean this place up a little bit better and polish things out a little bit and give you guys a tour so that way you can see. I have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I'm about 3 blocks away from Revolucion. I can walk to everything perfectly fine. It's in the middle of an alley, so it's somewhat quieter. I've lived in big cities before. I lived in downtown Portland for a long time, and so I'm used to the city noise, all the buses and vehicles and all the other noise that goes along with it. So it doesn't really bother me. And so anyways, let's see, that was almost 4 years ago. So 22 that I moved here, full-time, permanently. And I have loved every minute of it. Never once have I felt unsafe. The only times I've ever had an issue has been with, obviously, the notorious Tijuana Policia. I've gotten pulled over twice for, actually 3 times for driving. I actually did the crime. I was in the wrong. They pulled me over. I negotiated the fine on the spot, paid it, went on my merry little way. And then one time, another buddy of mine who's also a gringo, we were walking through the neighborhood, again, in a neighborhood with no gringos. It was dark. The police drove past and they stopped us for walking while gringo, essentially. Like, hey, what are you guys doing in this neighborhood? This neighborhood's really dangerous. There's a lot of drugs here. This place isn't, this isn't a good neighborhood for Americans. What are you guys doing here? And we're like, oh yeah, well, we live here. We're walking to the Oxxo, which is Mexico's version of 7-Eleven. They were actually really cool. It's kind of funny. I'm kind of a gun guy. I was in the gun industry for a long time in America, so we actually wound up talking guns with the policia for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And they checked our IDs. They actually, with me, they took my wallet, took the money out of my wallet, handed me my money back, and then inspected my wallet and made sure there was no drugs or anything in it. And checked my ID, made sure I was good. I had all my my passport, all my paperwork, everything in order. But a lot different experience here than it is in the United States. I laugh when people complain about the police in the United States. And don't get me wrong, I know there are problems. There's serious problems with the police in the United States. I'm not giving them a pass at all. But here, the laws work a lot differently. They really don't need a reason to stop you. Um, if they think you're up to something not so good, or I've haven't experienced it myself, but I know people who have experienced it, basically getting robbed, especially in the Zona Norte. My advice to you, if you're an American, you don't speak Spanish, don't be driving around Tijuana at night. That's my best advice. And especially don't be driving around the Zona Norte at night. That is a good way to get stopped and robbed by the cops. I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning. I don't know if there is such a thing as too much coffee. Anyways, other than that, I haven't had any problems at all. My Spanish is slowly getting better and better. I highly recommend, if you're thinking about moving to Tijuana or Mexico in general, start learning Spanish now. I cannot overemphasize this. It will make your life so much easier. People here respect you when you at least try to speak the language. Might not be perfect. Odds are they probably speak a little bit of English too. They're just embarrassed because, like us, their English is not great, just like our Spanish isn't great. So you kind of wind up with a mishmash of the two languages. But other than that, moving to Mexico was the best decision I've ever made in my life, hands down. Cost of living alone, wow. This apartment for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in downtown TJ, $585 a month. Across the border, just a few miles away in San Diego, I would be north of $3,000 a month. Think about that. The other big savings here is electricity. I pay about $25 every 2 months for electricity here. We're billed every other month. In San Diego, I would be paying probably at least $200-$300 a month in electricity. So it's a big cost savings to live here, definitely. I think as time goes on, there's just going to be more and more Americans, to the point where eventually they might crack down and say, okay, we're going to have to do something about all the gringos here coming here and jacking all the prices up in TJ and along the border, because Mexican people won't be able to afford to live here. Let's see. There's a few things that are a little bit different. The mail, I honestly, I don't even know if there is a mail system here. I've been told there is a mail system in Mexico, but not like we rely on, in sunshine, snow, bad weather, whatever, the mailman always shows up. I've never even seen a mailman here. I've seen DHL, and I've used DHL to ship things here before. But I don't have mail service here. I still maintain an address in the United States. I have a home in Arizona that I use for my driver's license, and all my mail goes there. I also have family in California. I can use that address if I need to. And I highly recommend, from talking to other expats around the world, keep a US address before you move out of the country. That way you can keep your mail going there. You can keep your cell phone tied there, have a US phone number. Some of that stuff is pretty important, especially for banking and stuff, being able to have a US number. Let's see, what other tips and tricks have I learned? Don't drive at night. That's bad juju. Let's see. Don't walk around by yourself at night. Again, bad juju. Just common sense. Never once have I felt unsafe or threatened by anyone here. Just use common sense. It's no different than living in the United States. There's neighborhoods that I won't walk through in my hometown, in Central California, where I grew up. I feel more safe here than I do up north in various parts of America. So disregard the the things that you hear. There's so many stereotypes and straight up racism about Mexico and the Mexican people. Don't listen to all that noise. Come here for yourself and try it out. I probably took 30 trips testing out being here, seeing if I was comfortable before I was finally like, okay, yeah, I'm in. I'm good. Let's do this. Come on down. Check it out. Hang out for a weekend. Go to the beach. Go to Villa de Guadalupe. Go to Ensenada, Rosarito, San Felipe. There's so much to do around here. Hang out, TJ. So many good restaurants here in Tijuana. Oh my gosh. The food scene here is absolutely bananas. They've closed off Revolucion, which is the main street downtown, to cars. So now it's this big walking street that's just, it's really taken off. It's really cool. It's nothing like it used to be at all. I remember coming here in the early 90s and it was definitely a party town, and Revolucion was very much a party street for Americans. Here now, it's actually pretty rare to see Americans like you used to see in Tijuana. Most people, again, racism, stupidity, stereotypes, they're afraid to cross the border. I'm telling you, come on down, check it out, and have an adventure. And I think that's what this whole channel is about, is having an adventure. Hence the name, Onward. Keep moving onward. Keep trying to have more adventures. I talk about my grandfather and my great-grandfather a lot. My paternal grandfather, he really inspired the sense of adventure in me. And so through this channel, hopefully I can continue that and pass that on to somebody else, some other young person. Man, if 18-year-old me would have saw this video and this guy that moved to Mexico and is doing all this cool, awesome stuff, I'd have been here a long time ago. But anyways, hopefully these videos will help somebody out. And as I mentioned yesterday in my disaster video, I really enjoy helping other people. So hopefully with this project, this channel, I can help somebody else and change somebody else's life and inspire somebody else to go out and have some adventures. So with that, if you're still here, thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If somebody watches this, that'd be great. If you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, click that bell, drop a note in the comments, tell me, hey, you're great, hey, you're an idiot, here's how you fix it, or wow, I really appreciate it. Whatever, I would really like some comments. So anyways, with that, have a great day and keep on moving onward.